Hello, one and all. It's my view of My Hero Academia, Chapter 308, Full Power. And we finally get to see Deku unlock a new quirk, and it is Smokescreen, which is interesting. Very, very interesting. I mean, seriously, people have been calling Deku Green Naruto since basically the start of this series, to the point where I actually thought his next quirk might end up being Shadow Clones or something like that. But Smokescreen is so very much more ninja than that, and I freaking love it. Especially in combination with the fourth danger sense. He can blind his opponent with his smokescreen, but he can still see them, still feel their attacks coming towards him with the danger sense. That's such a cool combo, and I just love the way he's describing his quirks. You know, they aren't these big ultimate powers that are completely change his fighting style every time he unlocks one. Instead, they're tools. You know, black is a rope, smokescreen are smoke grenades. Danger Sense the radio, Float is basically a jetpack. That kind of reminds me of the one Deku used in the second round of the UA Sports Festival. And by finding ways to use these things on their own and in combination with the rest of them, he's able to create these amazing combos that make him so much more dangerous and so much more powerful. And of course, I am seeing people complain online saying, oh, you know, Deku's mastering these quirks way too quickly. Well, you know, he has some help. He can actually talk with the past users now, even while he's awake. Even in mid-battle, he can get real-time feedback from people who actually master these quirks, which makes it so much easier to learn them and so much easier to find new ways to use them. And I freaking love that. But speaking of being like Naruto, Deku uses the talking jutsu and attempts to talk Muscular out of being a homicidal maniac, which... yeah, no, Deku, that's not going to happen. I think Deku even realized this. Even Deku acknowledged, yeah, there's no humanity left inside this man, but he still wanted to try and understand, still wanted to try and figure out, okay, why exactly become like this? Was something in his past? Was there something that went wrong in his life that he became like this? Is he doing it to try and accomplish some goal? No. As Muscular says, because all you'll find in my soul is blood and violence, which, yeah, that sounds about right. Though Deku did get something out of this because he found out that All For One told Muscular just to go wild, you know? But Muscular is basically a distraction from whatever it is that All For One and Shigaraki are doing, wherever it is they're doing it. And then Deku takes down Muscular hard. I mean, seriously, the force and speed of his attack creates a water funnel around him. Oh, that was so freaking cool. But what I also really loved about this was that Deku didn't win this fight by himself. The only reason he managed to beat Muscular, or at least this way, was because Yo managed to weaken him with his vibrations. He managed to tear apart the muscles and create an opening where Deku could strike where he was at his weakest. And I'm really glad about this because, you know, Deku's definitely become stronger, faster, smarter, all that. But it's not like he's 100 times stronger than he was in his last fight against Muscular, you know? Back then, a blow strong enough to actually break through all the layers of muscles, you know, shatter all the bones in his arm. I definitely don't think his bones have gotten any stronger since the last fight, so this is more about him fighting smarter than fighting stronger, and I really do like that. Anyway, rest of the chapter, we open up with Muscular being really, really excited about having a rematch against Deku. Not because he wants revenge, but simply because Deku was the only opponent he's ever been able to go 100% against. The only opponent who really pushed him to his limits. And to celebrate, he grabs a roof tile and shoves it in his eye socket, which, yeah, you know, I'm starting to think that Muscular might not be all that mentally healthy. And to prove that, he then picks up a building and throws it, which, yeah, I'm starting to think he's crazy. Pretty sure he's crazy at this point. Deku then passes off Yo to Tatami, and I find it rather interesting that he used his smokescreen here. Does he not want to be recognized by Tatami? Does he not want her to tell the pro heroes or his classmates where he is right now? I'm curious, very curious about that. I mean, I think Yo saw him, but Yo was definitely bordering on unconscious when it happened, so I'm not sure about that. Oh, and something else definitely worth mentioning, I said this before, but Deku's new quirks, you know, they aren't going to be these big powerhouses, because with each generation, quirks get more complex and more powerful, meaning that quirks from 50 to 100 years ago are much simpler by comparison. But if that's the case, what about the second and third user? Because statistically, they should have the weakest, simplest quirks of all. They shouldn't have quirks that are, you know, anything to write home about. But the fact that we haven't gotten hints of what they are yet seems to imply that's not the case. Seems to imply that they might be these really big game changers to Deku's fighting style. I'm just really curious about that. I'm trying to think what else he could add to his repertoire, what else he could add to his fighting style that would make him more powerful, more dangerous than he is right now. And the only thing I really think of is some sort of debuff, like poison, or maybe something similar to Aizawa, where when he looks at his opponent, they lose their quirk, they slow down, or something like that. I'm just really not sure. I mean, does Deku even know the identity of the second and third user at this point? It looked like he was about to have a conversation with them in the quirk realm right before we got this flash forward, so I just don't know. I'm really curious about that. I mean, it definitely seems like whatever they talked about changed him in some way where it made him much more serious, much more of a loner. Very curious. So confused about that. Please let me know down below. What do you think's the deal with the second and third user? What are they hiding? What are their quirks? How are they going to make Deku even stronger than he is now? What do you think of Deku's new combos and using all of his quirks one after the other like this? It's so cool to see, and I cannot wait for the next fights. Do you think Muscular's down for the count? Do you think he's knocked unconscious? Do you think he's dead? I mean, if he isn't, I kind of feel like they should just kill him at this point, simply because, you know, no prisons can actually hold him, and even if one could, All For One would show up and free him again, which, you know, would be very, very bad. So yeah, let's kill Muscular. Yay! Let me know what's down below. Be sure to like, subscribe to this video. Until then, peace!